So today I want to talk about a concept that I, in some ways, alluded to last week. I I didn't talk about the concept per se. I just mentioned to you that I'm going to be stopping writing my blog posts as we move forward because I want to direct more of my attention to some of the various projects that I have going for this spring, summer, and fall. And so the idea behind this is the blog posts take up anywhere from 3, 4, 5 hours a week for me between the starting of the idea, doing some research. Yeah, is this going to work? Writing the post, and then where I really have my my time suck is the tech stuff, the getting it on the website and making it look right, and all of those types of things. And I'm way too much of a perfectionist, so I'm constantly tweaking how I said this, anyway. So over the course of writing a blog post, most of my posts are in the 1,500 word range. Yeah, it takes 3, 4, 5 hours a week. Well, that's, upwards of 20 hours a month that I could be devoting to other things and these other projects. Well, here's where the concept comes in, and see if this doesn't also fit for us as coaches, or could. I haven't used it nearly enough as a coach, and it's something I really need to start focusing on doing. The idea is this. It's called the Pareto Principle. And the Pareto Principle, and I'm sorry to the man, Mr. Pareto, who it's named after. I know I've read his first name where in the various places I've read it or heard it. I just forget it right now. But all of the professional development, the leadership, the entrepreneurial, personal development, productivity types of books and videos and that I see time and time again, I will see this Pareto Principle mentioned. The other concept, the other name for it is the 80-20 rule, or the 80-20 principle. And the idea is this, that 80% of our success comes from about 20% of our endeavors. And so taking that idea into consideration, that 20%, okay, of your endeavors are producing the vast majority of your success. The Pareto Principle says, then you should turn around and devote 80% of your time to that 20% of stuff that you find is the most productive for you. Well, I love that idea. Well, so for me, all right, the blog posts, while I love writing them and bringing them to you, they are not part of the best, most successful or significant 20% that I have going. Yet they take up a chunk of time. And so I need to put that aside and fill that time with things that actually provide more in terms of a return on an investment for me and ultimately for you. Well, how can that help us in our coaching? Well, think about this, because again, and I wish I had heard this concept and thought of this idea in my years as a varsity coach, because I would have tried to really instill it in my teams and do it more as a coach myself. And if I ever am a varsity coach again, I think I will. Doesn't mean I won't right now as a middle school coach, but I think you'll see why it would be so much more appropriate as a varsity coach. Because if all my years coaching, I was the classic coach who said, we need to work on our weaknesses to make them strengths. Then in games, we want to maximize those strengths. Okay, I still like that idea. The problem with that idea is we spent so much time on weaknesses that we overlooked devoting the majority of our time to the things we do so well that we become unstoppable with them. And again, you're never going to be totally unstoppable. But what if I had flipped that and zeroed in on the things we do best, and let's just zero in most of our time once we're in the season on those things. And in the off season, or in pre-practice, post-practice time, that's when we work on the various weaknesses that we have. And of course, more than anything there, I'm talking about individual skill types of things. As a person, one of the things that I do, one of these various things in my 80-20 that I do, is I work with kids one-on-one and in small groups and in camp settings as a basketball coach to help them become better players. that's the time to zero in on the weaknesses and start honing their skills in such a way that they become strengths. Then come the season, that's when we could go back to, all right, now let's really zero in on here's where our strengths are. Okay, so let's maximize these the most we can. Doesn't mean we're not going to work on weaknesses, but let's make sure our strengths are so strong that we have a variety of things that we're extremely confident in, that because we're extremely successful in them. Well, you can see how this is really a concept that as a varsity coach, I would be able to really maximize. Whereas as a middle school coach right now, it's all weaknesses. It's all things that we're working at. Yes, we have some players who are strong enough that yes, they've already built up certain levels of skills, absolutely. But the majority of the kids who I deal with in the middle school have so many different things they need work on that I can't take a season, which is extremely short to begin with, and only zero in on strengths. I have to make sure that every day we're working on the fundamental things and the things that they need the most work on. So it's a little different at the level where I am now. But it doesn't mean I can't still even try to figure out, but what are some ways to do that? And then how about within the game setting or in game plans or whatever? Why not? Let's just focus on the 20% that we do best, and let's just zero in on that. And then in practice, we'll keep working on the other things, hopefully building up that 20% to being more and more. But I think it's a great concept. Look this up, the Pareto Principle, Pareto Principle, 80-20 rule, I think is how they put it. Because I think it's something that we can use as coaches, we can use in leadership. Think about anywhere in your life where you could use this though, and how it could maximize your productivity if you focus most of your attention on the 20% of things that get you the greatest return on investment. Again, in any realm of life. Here I'm talking, of course, more than anything to coaches. So something I'm going to try this year, absolutely, and can try to, again, I've tried it, but I really want to continue to build on it and work on it. And it's something I'm actually working on with my kids who I work in the off season as well. Yes, we're going to work on those individual skills that they need the most work on to strengthen them. But I'm also helping them realize, okay, this is one of the things you do really, really well. Let's get you so strong at that you are, again, unstoppable. Something for you to consider, something that I think all of us need to consider in our lives and in all aspects of our lives. All right, we'll talk to you again next time.